Okay, so he tells her to go into the next room and get naked, and so she hangs out in the next room naked, and, like, is all, oh, he's going to touch me, oh. Okay. The door opened and he appeared, making the rest of the room seem so unreal. I jumped to my feet. With frightening rapidity, Scorpius came up to me, placed one hand between my breasts, and pushed me firmly onto the bed. He grabbed my knees and pulled my legs roughly apart. I felt the cool leather of his glove against my thigh, and gasped in shock as Scorpius forced two of his fingers into my vagina. I squeezed my legs together to try and stop him. It wasn't that I didn't want him to enter me, I just wasn't ready for it so soon. He pulled his hand away and sighed. Scorpius is disappointed. Okay. Are you going to resist me? No, Scorpius. Then get on the bed and open your legs and keep them open, he said sternly. I obeyed, and he got on the bed beside me, resting on his side. Again his hand went between my legs. This time he penetrated me with 3 fingers. My internal muscles spasmed around him. These run-on sentences are actually killing me. Let's see. Scorpius gave a little sigh of pleasure and rested his helmeted head against mine briefly. It was a strange, sweet little moment. And then he said, I intend to pleasure you repeatedly. There was a hint of delicious anticipation in his voice. He thrust his fingers in deeper, and I gave a sharp little scream at the sudden intensity of it. You may cry out. In fact, it will add to my pleasure if you do. Thanks. What a nice guy. Oh god, okay, no, it gets better. His fingers slipped out of me, and presently, without any fumbling around, he found my clitoris with his first 2 fingers and proceeded to rub it gently. Oh gods, it was so much better than I had hoped. So no one that you've ever fucked before has found your Honey! Honey, no! Okay, he paused and got to his knees, moved to the bed to kneel between my thighs, which gaped as I strove to open myself to him. Scorpius thrust 3 fingers of one hand deep inside me and returned the fingers of his free hand to my clit. He rubbed it slowly, allowing the pleasure to build gradually. The sides of his fingertips made a slight channel which slid over the sides of my clit, as well as covering the tip. He was stimulating me much better than I had ever done to myself. Okay. Okay. The cool, almost scientific detachment of his expression was more erotic than any passion I had seen before, and when he looked at my face and parted his lips slightly, I seemed to feel him looking into my mind. Blah blah blah, mixture of fear and desire. Oh, Scorpius bent over me and sucked one of my red, swollen nipples? That sounds like an infection. Okay. The sensation made me cry out, because you have an infection, inspiring greater response from my clitoris and my vagina, where he continued to finger fuck me. He grazed the tip with his serrated teeth, and he moved to plunge down on my other nipple. I noticed the first time his black gums. It aroused me still further. Okay. Oh shit, where was I? Oh, and I murmured his name as his clever, strong lips pulled over the unbearably sensitive tip. Scorpius' fingers speeded up, inside and out, and he sharply bit my nipple. I came, screaming his name, thrusting my hands against his shoulders, with passion, not resistance. Which he understood, giving me a twisted smile as he withdrew his mouth and looked into my eyes. There was a bead of blood oozing from my nipple, but I just didn't care. As the incredible spasms between my legs began to fade, Scorpius resumed masturbating me, merciless and insistent, seemingly insatiable for my orgasm, forcing me to 2 more shattering climaxes, as his fierce, hot mouth worried at my nipples, punctuating the relentless waves of pleasure with sharp jabs of equally enjoyable pain. sucking up the blood that oozed from the tips with obvious enjoyment, though his breathing increased only slightly. Eventually, he let me rest. For 50 microns. That's a minute. Guys! Okay. Now it's my turn to come, Scorpius said, standing up in one swift movement. Turn around. I want you on all fours. This is gonna end really well, you guys. This is gonna end well. Oh god, okay. I obeyed, my legs trembling with aftershock. Scorpius reached under the bed and produced a purple glass jar. Then he got back on the bed and knelt behind me. I heard but could not see him unscrew the old-fashioned lid of the jar. I felt something cold and gelid being smeared over my anus. Panic struck through me. This was to be no straightforward lovemaking. No, it's not. It's not going to be that. No, I shrieked and tried to kick out at him, but only succeeded in skittering a little up the bed before his hand grabbed at my ponytail and jerked, yanking my head painfully back. I screamed and turned to strike him, but all my efforts earned me was the choking grasp of Scorpius's other hand around my throat. Oh, God. We're getting into the, good stuff. You thought we got to it. No. No. Okay. You will keep still or I will hurt you, Scorpius growled, his voice suddenly startlingly deep and harsh, terrifyingly different from his usual melodic tones. I froze, and his hand on my throat relaxed enough for me to get some air into my aching lungs. Scorpius, too, drew in a breath, seemed to be gathering himself together. He released my ponytail, and still grasping my throat in the other hand, he arranged me into my former position, pushing my legs open. This can only go well, you guys. You ready? I'm not ready. You have consented to relieve my sexual needs, accepted my offer of a better position than you could have achieved by your own efforts, and enjoyed my attention on your pleasure center. You will not deny me my fulfillment now, God, said Scorpius, his voice cool and melodic again. If you promise not to resist me, I will release your throat. If not, you may return to your former position, which, if I recall correctly, is not as comfortable as this one. Nod your head if I have your promise. Weakly, I nodded my head. Blah, blah, blah. He lets her go. Ugh. Again, his gloved fingers worked into my anus, and quite gently, I felt his gloved fingers begin to work the gel inside me. As I said earlier, my experience of any kind of sex was limited. Now, I add, I had never been sodomized. So the feel of his fingertip pushing his way into my virgin asshole was quite painful. Yet there was a tingling there, almost pleasant. Virgin ass, okay. Oh, this ointment contains a mild local anesthetic. Thanks. I have no desire to cause you more pain than is necessary for the attainment of my pleasure. Fortunately, my mixed ancestry renders me immune to its effects, or it would considerably reduce the sensitivity of my own sexual organs. Thanks for sharing! Thanks for sharing, okay. Oh, I heard the unsnapping of his codpiece, which capacious object was placed on the pillow in front of me. Sentence structure. Oh gods. How big is he really? He shuffled closer to me. His hands went around my thighs, adjusting my position to better suit his purpose. I felt the tip of something long and thick between my vaginal lips and was flooded with release as he realized he didn't intend to sodomize me after all. Presently, I felt something else. What was it? Pressed between the cheeks of my ass. As Scorpius's awesome penis probed the entrance of my cunt, I felt his hand against my buttock cleft, adjusting something. nub of that something now pressed against my greased anus. Sorry. Oh my god. Okay.